I guess the performing and the touring that we managed to do, which wasn't a great deal, but you learned. You learned about packing up and getting on the bus and being backstage and putting on your makeup and it was all done very, very professionally. It was great. My little friend from school was taking ballet at that time. And I thought that sounded like a very good idea. So I asked my parents if I could too. And that's how it all started. I wanted to do what my friend was doing. And then I carried on, and my little friend stopped after a few years, and then I got hooked. I got hooked right away.
On May 16, 1966, after more than a decade of promoting dance and teaching ballet in Edmonton, Ruth Carse founded the Alberta Ballet.
Ruth and Muriel go back to the very beginning. Ruth taught Muriel her first ballet class. Ruth had suffered a foot injury, was not able to do any dancing. She was doing her teacher training at the Royal Academy of Dancing in London.
So she couldn't dance anymore, but she came back to Edmonton and started a company, which was great. So her love of dance led to her starting a ballet company.
And gradually it grew from that, right from the roots, and that's very difficult to do. Very few people in the country have done that.
My first few years with the company, I got to know Miss Carse, Ruth Carse, and it was very important to me to have her blessings.
She was very devoted to the classics, and that's how she really began building her audience and building the public up.
Fine memories of her, being quite a feisty lady. She knew what she wanted.
When they toured, people wanted to help so much, and they thought, well, dance, it needs to have a shiny, slippery floor. So they buffed it and polished it up, and of course then she came and poured Coca-Cola all over the floor to make it sticky. That happened often in those days, before we were able to tour with our own flooring.
I worked very hard. I worked very hard to be on the good side of the lady.
Ruth remained as artistic director until 1975. In 1976, a former member of Les Grands Ballets Canadiens made his way west, and Alberta Ballet welcomed their new artistic director, Bryden Page.
I think the main goal that I had when I arrived here, I saw that there needed to be an audience built. And although I did try to make it an eclectic repertoire, the main thrust was to build the company up through the classics. The dancers worked very hard, and they were wonderful. And the company grew gradually, and I had fabulous support from people like Jean Lougheed in particular. I admire so much about what Jean is doing, and the board and everything, and that's trying to keep the heritage of the ballet company alive. It's wonderful to come back. So many memories. It was a wonderful time for me in my life. Certainly one of the great highlights.
In 1988, after a successful 12 years at the helm, Bryden Page left the company, and Ali Pourfarouk became the Alberta Ballet's artistic director.
When I came to Alberta Ballet, as I said, it was a nice, small company doing classics and doing them well. But my ambition always was to extend and expand the horizon of the company and make the company a kind of company that could do classics as well as being able to do contemporary works. In the arts, the gradual improvement and the gradual achievement is really the most important thing. It's not overnight, suddenly something happens and then you hit the jackpot. There are highlights to perform with the orchestra more often, and bring in internationally known choreographers, and also bring a kind of repertory that you don't see other places in Canada. If a company is going to survive, has to go forward, to accept newness, not just simply for the sake of being new, but to go forward with the time. I was part of that progress, and I was very much proud of it. We're all serving our time, being part of the company and doing the best we can at the time that we are there.
In 1998, the Alberta Ballet was ready for the next stage in its evolution and chose Mikko Niisanen to take over as artistic director.
I spent a great chunk of my professional career there. It was the first professional ballet company that I run, and I deeply care about the organization. I had a sense that there was a good audience, and also there was a very professional team around the company. So I thought, all right, there's lots of things in place. My predecessors have done a very good job, and I thought it's time for the next big step. Ruby's was the first balancing ballet that we did, for me it was incredibly important because I wanted to prove to the Balancing Trust that I knew we can do balancing ballets. I had no doubt about it. But, like in dance and ballet and art, it's not what you do, it's how. So I wanted to show that we do it very well. Everything I did there was not for the bang for that day, or it's going to look good right now. I'm very non-concerned about how things are going to look. I'm very concerned about it. What is the long-term benefit and the result for the organization and the community?
After 4 years, Mikko Niisanen moved to Boston, and responsibility for the creative vision of the company was passed to current artistic director Jean Grandmaître.
When you realize how many thousands of people have sacrificed for this company's growth, and then you look at the founders, Muriel Taylor and Ruth Carse, and their dream, which started in a basement in Edmonton and now is touring around the world, that's an extraordinary achievement for all of us. And so I think in that way, you feel that you're very privileged to be directing a company during its 50th because you celebrate the future and the past, and you want to honor something that's vital in our society, and that's why we all believe in it and sacrifice for it.
Now being, a senior member of the company, and have been here starting, I think this is my 15th season now, it's such a special thing to be in the company that you grew up watching and being a part of and seeing grow from this tiny little company to what it is, this international company that we have now.
I think the fans love this company so much. I think going back to talking about family, and we have a really good connection with a lot of our sponsors, and even though we are the second largest company in Canada now, we have such, I think, a great family feel in Calgary and Edmonton, that we know a lot of our sponsors very personally and have had a lot of great events over the years to meet other sponsors, and again, just have that family feel. Like a lot of our sponsors are great friends of ours as well.
It's very exciting to look ahead to the next 50 years, and even though I've only been here a short period of time with Alberta Ballet, there's so much thought and energy that goes into how Alberta Ballet can impact its community, and not just in Calgary and Edmonton and in our province, but throughout Canada, throughout North America. And I think there's some really exciting things planned, and I think that what Alberta Ballet brings to this community is really special and really unique, and luckily it's also really valued, I think.
The companies of Canada were all founded by women, and that's an extraordinary statement, because it's true. Sometimes 2 women, sometimes 3 or 4 people collaborated together on the company's evolution, but often it was women who founded all the companies in Canada, and that tells you a lot about their strength and dedication and how they don't give up on a vision. And Ruth and Muriel certainly worked hard together in so many different ways to bring this company to have a foundation which could enable it to emancipate itself for decades and decades and bring a lot of joy and beauty to the people of Alberta. And so I knew the history that way because these two women were extraordinary, resilient and inspired ladies who brought an art form from the castles of France to the prairies of Alberta and believed that somehow it would touch people. And here we are 50 years later, and how right they were. So it was important that I understood all the past artistic directors and what they brought to the company. Bryden Page, who pushed this company into the future, from Ruth, you know, and that's one of the hardest moments, is to get that momentum going from inertia. And then Ali, who brought so much contemporary repertoire and opened the eyes to the people here of what dance was doing all over the world. And then Mikko Nissinen, my predecessor, who brought such a high level of technical ability and prowess and refinement to the dancers' technique, and a very open, wide repertoire from the contemporary to the classical. And so it's interesting that in that way I inherited a fantastic company.
Why is it that all Canadian ballet companies were founded by women? I don't know. Thank goodness they did, though. Where would we be without our ballet?